Narrator. Hello and a very warm welcome back to the English Learning Podcast Beginners Series. I'm so glad you're joining us today for a topic that touches everyone, no matter where you're from or what your background is. We're diving into the fascinating and often complex subject of talking about your family. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where someone asked about your family, and you weren't quite sure how much to share, or even how to describe the unique relationships within your own home? Or perhaps you felt a little hesitant, worried about cultural differences in how families are discussed? Today we're not just expanding your vocabulary, we're exploring the nuances of human connection, the intricate tapestry of relationships that shape us, and the art of communicating about them in English. This isn't just about listing relatives. It's about understanding family dynamics, respecting boundaries, and sharing personal stories in a meaningful way. It's about transforming awkwardness into authentic connection, one thoughtful phrase at a time. Understanding how to discuss family effectively can offer profound insights into social interactions and cultural understanding, whether in casual chats or more significant connections. Today we'll listen to an insightful and relatable conversation between two friends, Sarah and Liam, as they discuss their own experiences with talking about family, share strategies they've found effective for navigating diverse family structures, and discuss the vocabulary that helps them express these complex ties. By listening to their discussion, you'll not only enhance your English comprehension but also gain valuable vocabulary and practical phrases for describing family members, discussing relationships, and understanding cultural perspectives. And remember to stay with us until the end of their conversation, where we'll have a focused practice session designed to help you actively engage with the language and concepts they explore. So, take a moment to reflect on your own family's unique story, listen attentively, and let's explore the rich world of family conversations together. Sarah: Hi Liam. It's really great to catch up. I was just thinking about how often conversations eventually turn to family, and sometimes I find myself navigating quite carefully what to say and how to say it. How do you feel about talking about your family? Is it something you find easy? Liam: Hi Sarah. It's always good to chat with you too. That's such a relatable point. For me, it honestly depends on the context and who I'm talking to. With close friends like you, it's usually quite easy and natural. But with new acquaintances or in a more formal setting, I find myself pausing, wondering how much detail is appropriate. It can feel like a delicate balance trying to be open without oversharing. What about you? Sarah: Absolutely, the context is everything. I think for me, the immediate challenge is sometimes realizing how unique every family is. What's normal for my family might be completely different for someone else and vice versa. So describing family dynamics without sounding defensive or overly complicated can be a bit of a dance. I find myself using phrases like, "Oh, we're a pretty close-knit family," or "We've got a bit of a big extended family," to give a quick summary. Do you tend to talk more about your immediate family or your extended family? Liam: That's a good way to put it, a dance. I usually start with my immediate family, my parents and siblings. It's a simpler introduction and people can usually relate to that. But if the conversation flows naturally, I enjoy talking about my extended family too, my grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. We have a lot of funny stories from our big family gatherings, especially around holidays. It's those shared experiences that really define us. What about your family? Do you have many family traditions? Sarah: Oh, definitely. Family traditions are huge for us. Every Christmas we have a specific way we open presents, which involves everyone wearing silly hats no matter their age. And every summer we all go camping together. It's chaotic, but it's part of our identity. These traditions, even the quirky ones, are what make our family feel cohesive and unique. It's interesting how these rituals shape your sense of belonging, isn't it? Do you find that some topics about family are easier or harder to discuss? Liam: They absolutely do. And yes, some topics are definitely harder. I think personal struggles or disagreements within the family are always tricky. You want to be honest, but you also need to protect privacy and avoid speaking ill of people you care about. It's about setting boundaries, knowing what's okay to share and what's best kept within the family circle. Sometimes I'll just say, like any family, we have our moments, or we're still working through some things. That way, I acknowledge a truth without diving into specifics. Have you ever faced situations where you felt a conversation about family became a bit sensitive? Sarah, all the time. Especially with a large extended family, there's always a chance someone holds a different opinion on something, or there might be an old family feud that occasionally resurfaces. I've learned that sometimes a simple, "It's a bit complicated but we all do our best," is enough. Or if it's with a very close friend, I might share more, but always with the understanding that it stays confidential. I also find the generation gap can sometimes be a challenge, especially when discussing modern issues with older relatives. Takes a lot of patience and understanding. Liam, the generation gap is a real one, absolutely. It's fascinating how different generations can view the same situation so differently. I find that when talking about my family, I often try to emphasize the positive aspects first. The support system they provide, the values they instilled in me. It's like building a positive foundation before you potentially get into any complexities. Do you think there's a difference in how people from different cultures discuss family? I've noticed some cultures are much more open while others are very private. Sarah, that's a massive point, Liam. I've definitely observed significant cultural differences. In some cultures, it's common to know intimate details about your third cousin's life, while in others, even discussing your parents' occupations might be considered too personal. When talking to someone from a different background, I try to ask open-ended questions that allow them to share as much or as little as they're comfortable with, like, "What's a typical family gathering like for you?" Or, "How big is your family generally?" It's about showing respect for their cultural norms. It also means sometimes my description of my own family might need to be adapted slightly for different audiences, to be more relatable or to avoid misinterpretation. Liam, that's very thoughtful. And it's true, adapting your language is key. I also try to focus on universal themes when possible. For example, most people understand the concept of a favorite aunt or a mischievous cousin, regardless of cultural specifics. It helps to find common ground. How do you handle situations where a relationship within your family might be strained or difficult, and you don't want to be dishonest, but also don't want to air dirty laundry? Sarah, that's a challenging one. It requires a lot of emotional intelligence, doesn't it? My approach often involves acknowledging the reality without dwelling on the negative. I might say something like many families, we have our ups and downs, or we're still working on certain relationships, or we're different personalities but we make it work. It implies a challenge without needing to detail a family dispute. The goal is usually to move the conversation towards a more comfortable topic or to a shared positive memory. It's about navigating the situation with grace. Liam, that's excellent advice, Sarah. It's about setting a tone and maintaining a certain level of privacy while still being authentic. I've found that focusing on shared activities or family milestones is also a good way to talk about family without getting too personal. Like, "My brother recently got married," or "We celebrated my grandmother's 80th birthday last year." These are factual and often lead to pleasant follow-up questions without digging into deeper dynamics. Sarah, exactly. And sometimes, it's not just about talking about living family members. I've found that discussing family members who are no longer with us or who live far away can also be a significant part of talking about your family. It's a way of acknowledging our roots and the people who shaped us, even if they're not physically present. I might say, "My grandmother taught me how to bake," or "My uncle always used to tell the best stories." Keeps their memory alive. Oh, absolutely. Our ancestors and those who came before us are a huge part of our family narrative. Sharing stories about them can be incredibly enriching and often reveals a lot about our own values and where we come from. It adds depth to the conversation. And speaking of depth, what about those moments when you realize a friend has absolutely no family left or a very small family? How do you adapt your conversation then? Sarah, that's when active listening and empathy become even more crucial. You don't want to make someone feel isolated or that their family isn't enough. In those situations, I usually shift the focus to the broader concept of chosen family, the close friends, mentors, or communities that provide the same love and support as blood relatives. I might say, family isn't always about blood, is it? Sometimes it's the people you choose. It opens up the conversation to include all forms of supportive relationships. Liam, that's a beautiful way to phrase it, Sarah. Recognizing and valuing chosen family is incredibly important. It reminds us that while our biological families are fundamental, the definition of family can be wonderfully expansive. So, it seems the key to talking about family, then, is about authenticity tempered with discretion, understanding your audience and being prepared to navigate a range of emotions and situations. Sarah, precisely, Liam. It's about finding that sweet spot where you share enough to connect, but not so much that you feel exposed or make others uncomfortable. And remembering that every family has its quirks, its challenges, and its immense love. It's all part of the human experience. This has been a really insightful conversation, thank you. Liam, my pleasure, Sarah. It's always great to share these common experiences and realize we're not alone in navigating them. Narrator. That was a truly insightful and relatable conversation between Sarah and Liam, exploring the diverse and often complex journey of talking about our families. They shared practical strategies for expressing family dynamics, respecting boundaries, handling sensitive topics, and understanding cultural nuances. Now, let's move on to our focused practice session to help you actively engage with the language and concepts they explored. Remember, practicing aloud is key to building your confidence and fluency. Practice section. Part 1. Key vocabulary and phrases. Let's review some important vocabulary and phrases related to talking about your family. Listen, understand the definition, and then try to answer the question aloud. 1. Family dynamics. The way that family members interact and behave with each other. Question. How would you describe the family dynamics in your household? 2. Close-knit. Used to describe a group of people like a family who are closely connected and supportive of each other. Question. Do you come from a close-knit family? Why or why not? 3. Extended family. Relatives beyond your immediate family, parents, siblings, such as grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Question. How often do you get together with your extended family? 4. Boundaries. Limits that define acceptable behavior in relationships, especially regarding privacy or personal space. Question. Why is it important to set boundaries when discussing personal family matters? 5. Generation gap. Differences in attitudes or experiences between people of different generations, which can cause a lack of understanding. Question. What is one common example of a generation gap you've observed in families? 6. Support system. A network of people, family, friends, community, who provide practical or emotional help. Question. Who is part of your support system when you face challenges? 7. Strained relationship. A relationship that is experiencing difficulties, tension, or conflict. Question. How might you gently refer to a strained relationship in your family without oversharing? Part 2. Reflecting on your family. Think about your own experiences with family. Answer the following questions aloud using some of the vocabulary we just reviewed. 1. What is one unique family tradition that you cherish? How does it make you feel? 2. Have you ever had to navigate a sensitive topic about your family in conversation? How did you handle it? 3. Besides blood relatives, who would you consider part of your chosen family and why are they important to you? Part 3. Practicing phrases in a scenario. Imagine you are introducing your family to a new friend. Practice using the following phrases naturally in your description. We're a pretty close-knit family, especially my immediate family. My extended family gets together for big gatherings during the holidays. Like many families, we have our moments, but we try to manage the family dynamics. I've learned it's important to set boundaries when discussing certain topics. There's sometimes a bit of a generation gap with my older relatives on some issues. My family has always been a great support system for me. Sometimes if a relationship is a bit strained, I just say we're working through things. Narrator. The ability to effectively talk about our families is not just about vocabulary. It's about empathy, cultural awareness, and the skill of building meaningful connections. As Sarah and Liam so thoughtfully illustrated, from understanding different family structures to navigating sensitive topics with grace, every conversation contributes to our ability to communicate authentically. By embracing these nuances, we can share our unique stories with greater confidence and connect more deeply with others. Thank you for joining the English Learning Podcast today. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable language and practical insights for mastering the art of talking about your family. We'll be back soon with more engaging conversations to support your English.